For this week, an important point, the topic that we are going to take is the delimitation of J&K. In this topic, we are going to understand what the delimitation commission that was formed for the state of J&K, what report it has submitted, and what is delimitation commission, what is the whole exercise of delimitation, and what are the procedures included in delimitation. ठीक है. So why in news? Why in news? Because the Jammu and Kashmir J&K delimitation report has been presented. Okay. After the abrogation of Article 370, basically it was not abrogated, it was modified so that the special status given to Jammu and Kashmir was repealed on August 5, 2019. So J&K State Reorganization Act was brought, and after that specific act talked about the delimitation of the constituencies within the state of Jammu and Kashmir. ठीक है. So now that delimitation commission has submitted its report. It was chaired by the retired Supreme Court Judge Ranjana Prakash Desai, 2 ex officio chairmen, okay, and 5 Lok Sabha members who were from J&K, the state from J&K, were appointed by Lok Sabha, the Speaker of Lok Sabha, as the members of this delimitation commission. Okay. तो composition में क्या था? It was headed by retired Justice Ranjana Prakash R.P. Desai, okay, and 2 ex officio chairmen and 2 ex officio members and 5 members from Lok Sabha, okay, representing, there are 5 constituencies of Lok Sabha in J&K, okay. All those 5 members who were in Lok Sabha were made the member of this delimitation commission. ठीक है. Right, a bit of backgrounder. Prior to J&K Reorganization Act 2019, okay, we need to understand, prior to this the J&K Reorganization Act 2019, what was the situation? The whole state of J&K was one unit, it was one state that comprised of J&K and Ladakh, okay, and it had 111 seats in total, 46 in Kashmir, 37 in Jammu, and 4 in Ladakh, okay. There were 4 seats for Ladakh. Plus, very important point to notice, 24 seats remained vacant for the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. 24 seats in the State Assembly of J&K remained vacant for the members contesting from Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Okay. It was a symbolic assertion of the fact that POK is still the part of India. Delimitation of assembly seats was governed by J&K RPA 1957. J&K RPA, Representation of People's Act 1957. Okay, delimitation of assembly seats was governed by J&K RPA 1957, but delimitation of the whole state of J&K for the election of Lok Sabha was governed by the Constitution of India. There were basically dual kind of government. मतलब J&K की जो state की legislative assembly है, उसमें इलेक्शन होने के लिए जो टेरिटोरियल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज होंगी, दैट विल बी फॉर्म्ड थ्रू J&K RPA 1957, J&K Jammu and Kashmir Representation of People Act 1957, and within the same state of J&K, for the conduct of elections to the Lok Sabha, जनरल इलेक्शंस के लिए जो सीट्स का डिलिमिटेशन होगा, दैट विल बी बेस्ड अपॉन द रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ द डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन ऑफ सेंट्रल, मतलब बेसिकली the delimitation commission appointed by Parliament. But after the J&K Reorganization Act 2019, what happened was J&K will have 114 seats, पहले 111 seats थी. Now J&K is separate from Ladakh, okay. 90 plus 24. Again, now 24 seats will still be reserved for POK, but 90 seats will be, now there will be 90 seats in total, ठीक है. Now delimitation of both assembly, earlier what was? Delimitation of assembly seats was governed by J&K RP 1957. This act, Representation of People's Act 1957, that was enacted by the assembly of J&K. But what has now the situation is that for both assembly elections and for the elections of Lok Sabha, the seats The delimitation of the territorial constituencies will be done by the delimitation commission appointed by the parliament. Okay, I hope you understood this. Okay, how this J&K Reorganization Act has brought about a difference. Okay. Now, recommendation of the commission. 7 new seats have been proposed. 7 new seats have been proposed. Okay, for the assembly elections. Okay, for the assembly elections, not for the elections to Lok Sabha. These are, see, these seats are for Jammu region and these are for Kashmir region. That means 6 new seats for Jammu region and 1 seat for Kashmir, 1 new seat for Kashmir region, that is Kupwara. Okay, and for Jammu region, Kishtwar, Doda, Kathua, Samba, Rajouri and Riyasi. These 6 new constituent, new seats, that seat means new territorial constituencies for the conduct of election to Legislative Assembly of J&K. Okay. Now if we try to see the comparison, the redrawing of seats has taken place. Jammu mein 43, previous it was 37. See, there existed a difference between the Kashmir region and the Jammu region. Okay. The Jammu region had 37 seats, Kashmir region had 46 seats. But the argument here is that Kashmir region is densely populated. That means the population of Kashmir region is higher as compared to the Jammu region, and that is why they are having larger number of seats. What the delimitation commission has proposed is, now Jammu region will be having 43 seats, whereas Kashmir region will be having 47 seats. And moreover, more importantly, this classification of region has been ended. The regional classification of Jammu and Kashmir, these 2 regions, has been ended. But still, if we classify as to how many seats are for Jammu region and how many seats are for Kashmir region, so we can see that for Jammu region there are 43 seats now, and for Kashmir region there are 47 seats, total 90 seats. Earlier there were 83 seats, and we saw that 7 new seats have been proposed, right? So 83 plus 7 is equal to 90. 1 for Kashmir, that is Kupwara, and the 6 other for Jammu region. Okay. Moreover, another important point to note here is reserving 9 assembly seats for scheduled tribes, 6 in Jammu while 3 in Kashmir. Okay. Because J&K region is, the Jammu region basically is habitat of, like, it consists of a large number of tribals, okay, like Gujars and Bakkarwals, okay, and Gaddi tribes also. Some part of Himachal, some part of Gaddi tribe also goes to the southern region of J&K. Okay. So 9 assembly seats have been reserved for scheduled tribes, 6 in Jammu while 3 in Kashmir. Okay, 6 in Jammu and 3 in Kashmir. And commission has also recommended a provision for having 2 seats for Kashmiri Pandits, basically the immigrant Kashmiris. The immigrant Kashmiris were, migrant Kashmiri Hindus were basically Kashmiri Pandits that faced exodus in 1987 to 1990. Okay? So 2 seats for, they have proposed 2 seats for migrant Kashmiri Hindus and 9 seats reserved for tribal communities of the state of J&K. There was no reservation earlier for the tribal communities. Okay. And now these 5, Anantnag, Rajouri, Jammu, Udhampur, Srinagar and Baramulla, these will be the parliamentary seats. Okay, the ones we were talking about, 90 seats, they were for the conduct of election to Legislative Assembly. These 5 seats are for the conduct of election of parliamentary seats. Okay. After the Reorganization Act of 2019, Ladakh has become a union territory, J&K has become another union territory, right? So this region is J&K, now Kargil, Leh, all this is in Ladakh. Okay. Earlier the whole was one state. Now what is delimitation? What is delimitation? Delimitation basically is boundary commission. Okay? Setting boundaries is delimitation. So delimitation is commission is nothing but boundary commission. One important boundary commission that we all remember is Radcliffe Commission, which divided India and Pakistan. Okay, Radcliffe Commission. So similarly, delimitation commission is nothing but what? A boundary commission for redrawing the boundaries of territorial constituencies for the election to parliamentary seats and for the election to assembly seats. Now, when I'm talking about assembly seats, it means the state legislative assemblies, or in Hindi we call it Vidhan Sabha. Okay, Vidhan Sabha is basically the state legislative assembly, ठीक है, and Lok Sabha is what? The parliamentary seat. Okay. So Articles 82 and 170 provide for delimitation of the states into territorial constituencies for the purpose. Article 82 basically talks about the delimitation of the states. Okay, the delimitation of states. Like India में अगर लोकसभा इलेक्शंस हो रहा है, right? तो उसके लिए आपको constituencies पता होनी चाहिए कि how many constituencies the countries has been divided into. तो उसको करने के लिए क्या करते हैं? हर स्टेट को हर स्टेट को हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज में डिवाइड करते हैं, राइट? तो इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी कि एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट आए, तो बाउंड्रीज आर ओवरलैपिंग, तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट की बाउंड्रीज आर नॉट रेलेवेंट फॉर मेकिंग दिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी. ओके, तो आर्टिकल 82 provides for the delimitation of the territorial boundaries within a state for the conduct of Lok Sabha elections. ओके, दैट इज पार्लियामेंट्री सीट की इलेक्शन के लिए जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी होगी दैट विल बी ऑफ कोर्स ड्रॉन बाय डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन, एंड दैट पावर इट डिराइव्स फ्रॉम आर्टिकल 82. सिमिलरली फॉर द इलेक्शन टू विधानसभा और लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली ऑफ द स्टेट, जो स्टेट की जो टेरिटोरियल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज होंगी उनका डिवीजन जो होगा दैट विल बी ऑल्सो डन बाय डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन, and that power is derived from article 170. Okay, now important point is parliament may by law. Whenever this statement comes, parliament may by law. Okay, so the first thing that should strike your mind is an act of parliament, because parliament is what? A legislative body. It makes laws. So the parliament may by law establish any such authority to determine the extent of such territorial constituencies. ठीक है, अंडर आर्टिकल 82 and 170 who has been prescribed, who has been authorized with the power to form a boundary commission, so it is parliament. Parliament may by law, it is not the executive. Okay, the government will not make a delimitation commission, the parliament will make a delimitation commission. Okay, a very very important point that we are going to note is the orders of the delimitation commission cannot be challenged in any court of law, not even in Supreme Court. Okay, so the Delimitation Commission is a very high powered body directly under the Parliament of India, and the orders or the orders that this commission makes cannot be challenged even in the Supreme Court of India. Okay, and these orders will come into effect. These orders will come into effect at a certain date when the president notifies. ठीक है, तो what happens is delimitation commission submits its report to the president of India. Okay, and then president of India causes that report to be laid down in parliament, and of course in the state that we are talking about, right? For example, अगर यूपी का delimitation हो रहा है तो in UP assembly also, the state legislative assembly of UP, there also this report will be laid down, but they can discuss the report, but no amendments can be made, no changes can be made. Moreover, no order of the delimitation commission can be challenged in any court of law. Okay, the orders of, and these orders will become effective once president notifies it. Okay, once president says that these orders will be effective from this date, so it will be effective from that date. Okay, right? So if we talk about a bit more about delimitation commission, okay, so first delimitation commission okay, in India was empowered by the Delimitation Commission Act of 1952. Okay. So one important thing to note about delimitation is that the states, the territorial boundaries of the states are divided so that the delimitation is basically done. Delimitation, okay. Let's remove this. We are trying to understand a bit more about the process of delimitation. Okay. So Delimitation Commission, whenever Delimitation Commission Act, basically the Constitution of India provides that after every census, okay, after every census which is conducted after every 10 years, what will happen? The Parliament shall form a commission to delimit the boundaries of the territorial constituencies. ठीक है? अब ऐसा क्यों है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल 1950 में इंडिया की पॉपुलेशन जो थी 1980 में पॉपुलेशन डिफरेंट थे, है ना? तो 1950 के बेसिस पे जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज बनी थी, they will of course not be the representative of the constituencies that exist in 1980. Okay. To make adjustments for this, Parliament has prescribed that after every census, the Constitution has prescribed that after every census, the Parliament may by law establish a delimitation commission to look into the division of the territorial constituencies of the state, right, to reflect the changes in the population of the state. तो ये 1952 में पहली बार हुआ एंड देन 1962, ठीक है, ओके. तो 1952 में 1962, फिर 1976 में what happened was in 1976, ठीक है, 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, what they did was they froze the existing territorial boundaries up to 2000 because the next census will be in 2001. तो 2000 तक अब ये सेंसस हो जाएगा, तो 2002 में भले ही कर लो, ठीक है. तो what they did was they froze the delimitation, ठीक है, from 1976 to 2000, मतलब आगे 24 साल तक किसी प्रकार का delimitation नहीं होगा. To understand more, we need to understand what delimitation does, ठीक है. To understand more, we need to understand what delimitation basically does. Okay, so delimitation, the process of delimitation involves two major things. The first is allocation of seats, okay, to the state. ठीक है. The first is, keep up with me, I'll explain all these one by one. The first is the first task of delimitation commission is to allocate seats, ठीक है. The second task is to form boundaries of territorial constituencies, okay, to form boundaries of territorial constituencies. Now what happened is कि northern states, basically the states in northern states like UP, Bihar, MP, Rajasthan, the rate of population growth was very high in these states after 1952, between 1952 to 1971, ठीक है. So population growth became a menace. Basically the growth of population was so high that during the emergency period there was very coercive means used for population control, ठीक है. So population was one of the major political, social and economic problem. what happened was, जो एलोकेशन ऑफ सीट्स होगा, ठीक है, जो एलोकेशन ऑफ सीट्स है, फॉर एग्जांपल केरला, एमपी, यूपी, राजस्थान, ठीक है, तो the number of seats allocated to every state will depend upon the population of that state, ठीक है, the number of seat allocated to that state in Lok Sabha will depend upon the population of that state. Okay, that means a state with larger population will have larger number of representatives in the Lok Sabha, right? That means the political importance of that state will increase, of course, right? So what 42nd Amendment Act so what 42nd Amendment Act 1976 did was, 42nd Amendment Act 1976 did was it froze the allocation of seats. मतलब 1971 के पॉपुलेशन के बेसिस पे जो एलोकेशन ऑफ सीट्स हो चुका है स्टेट्स को, इन सारे स्टेट्स को, वही एलोकेशन ऑफ सीट्स रहेगा 2000 तक. यानी अगर केरल को 50 सीट्स हैं, एमपी को 90 सीट्स हैं, यूपी को 80 सीट्स हैं, तो ये वाली सीट्स एलोकेशन जो है वो 2000 तक चेंज नहीं होगी. दिस वाज द रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Not recommendation, it was basically a law, okay, that froze the allocation of the seats to the state. तो ये तो हो गया पहला काम, ठीक है. पहला काम क्या था? The allocation of seats to states, right, on the basis of their population. अब दूसरा काम क्या है? The second thing is about delimitation is forming the boundaries of territorial constituencies. Now, for example, now UP has 80 seats, for example, ठीक है. This figure might not be correct, that is not important. So these 80 seats, for example, the constitution says that the territorial division of the states, the allocation of seats, first of the all, the allocation of seats to every state should be done in such a manner that the number of seats, the ratio of the number of seats and the population remains constant throughout the country. मतलब अगर per 1000 people पे एक सीट मिल रही है केरला में, तो वही per 1000 people पे एक सीट मिलनी चाहिए यूपी में भी. ओके, तो number of seats upon people remains constant throughout the country. This is the one thing that constitution talks about, ठीक है. Secondly, okay, this has become a lot of hodgepodge. Okay, so I hope you understood that कि the number of seats to the number of people for every state should be constant. That means for example, for 1000 people, if one seat is allotted in Kerala, then for 1000 people, every 1000 people, there should be only one seat allotted to UP also. It cannot be said that for 1000 people there will be 2 seats in UP. Okay, that cannot be possible. So that is for first limitation put upon by constitution. The second limitation is when you are dividing a state, okay, when you are dividing a state into the territorial constituencies, ठीक है, for the purpose of election, you need to make sure that these territorial constituencies also have the similar number of the same ratio. मतलब ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि ये टेरिटोरियल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में 5000 लोग हैं, इस टेरिटोरियल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में 2000 लोग हैं, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. The state should be divided in such a way that the number of people in this territorial constituency is same to the number of people in this territorial constituency. So I hope you understood that the process of delimitation involves two major things. The first is allocation of seats in Lok Sabha and State Assembly. ठीक है, तो the first was allocation of seats. Okay, allocation of seats to the state. The second is forming boundary of the territorial constituency. So I hope you understood that there is a limitation as to how delimitation can be done. Okay, key to make the ratio constant for every seat, we need to allot a similar same number of people in all the states and in all the territorial constituencies also. फिर 2000 में क्या हुआ? Basically in 2001 84th Constitutional Amendment Act came. ठीक है, 84th Constitutional Amendment Act 2001. It said that although the allocation of seats is fixed on the basis of the census of 1971, ठीक है, और ये भी फिक्स किया गया था 1971 के बेसिस पे ही. कौन से एक्ट में? 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. It said that now the allocation of seats can be fixed yet, but the territorial boundaries can be rationalized. मतलब the territorial boundaries can now be altered with respect to the census of 1991. ठीक है, मतलब अगर यूपी को 80 सीट्स मिली हैं, ठीक है, तो सीट्स तो फिक्स रहेंगे, लेकिन यूपी का जो टेरिटोरियल बाउंड्रीज का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, ठीक है, दैट मे चेंज. ओके, दैट मे चेंज and that can change according to the census of figures of 1991. Okay, moreover, what it also did was it also extended this ban to 2026. मतलब allocation of seats will be fixed to 2026. Okay, understood? Now, अब allocation of seats is based on 1997 figure. Oh, sorry, 1971 figures. But the territorial constituencies, the determination of the boundaries of territorial constituencies is based on the 2000, because what happened was 84th Constitutional Amendment Act. What 84th Constitutional Amendment Act said? कि the territorial boundaries can be changed based on the population figures of 1991. फिर आया 87th Constitutional Amendment Act 2003. ठीक है, 87th Constitutional Amendment said that now you can change the boundaries of the constituent territories based on the figures of not 1991 but 2000. Okay, तो 2001 की फिगर्स के पॉपुलेशन फिगर्स के बेसिस पे यू कैन चेंज द बाउंड्रीज ऑफ द टेरिटोरियल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज. ओके, एंड दिस वाज a rationalization over 1991 figure. Okay, but yet the allocation of seats to all the states was still fixed. Okay, I hope you understood all this. If you have any doubts regarding this, kindly ask me in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to take them. Okay.